This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details. Just in case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barrero's Top 5 at 5. Brought to you by Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
A bevy of drivers and driving-related texts I am saving, and we'll try to get to some of those between 5:15 and 5:30 before Lavelle joins. Top 5 now.
We'll get to the Twins and Vikings towards the end of the top 5 today. A couple of meaty items outside of the state of Minnesota. And let's start, Dan, with the Little League World Series. I'm pretty sure this is a done-as, but this is a Huffington Post story, one of your favorites. Lydia O'Connor writes it, and this came out about 90 minutes ago. Little League Baseball pleaded with fans Friday not to place bets on the Kids World Series, saying, quote, "There's no place for that in youth athletics despite the growing accessibility of sports gambling." The warning comes on the third day of the Little League World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, where teams composed of players ages 10 to 12 are competing to win it all. Here's their statement. While Little League International continues to monitor the complexity and ever-evolving world of sports betting, we feel strongly that there is no place for betting on Little League games or on any youth sports competition. So who's doing this, you say? Well, no U.S.-based sports books offer bets on Little League games, but betting is happening elsewhere, including on Panama-based betonline.ag. In media statements, the site's brand manager, Dave Mason, defended the offering. The Little League World Series is an exciting tournament that our customers absolutely love to watch.
Our customers.
And we get requests from them every year around this time to offer odds. He does note that BetOnline has offered odds on the Kids World Series for the last 4 years. He continues, "This will probably be shocking to hear, but we'll take more bets on these Little League games than we will on any professional tennis or soccer match over the next 2 weeks."
This is the end, my only friend, the end.
But maybe we're late to the story. If they've been doing it for 4 years, has that been? I don't even remember us talking about it before or being reported before.
I don't either. I think we've always joked about it.
Yeah, we have.
And by the way, Aruba leads Panama right now 1-0. They're going to the top 4. Do you want to see if we can get some live odds and track it before the end of the show?
Oh, my goodness. Well,
but think about that.
Where does it end? It's not going to end now. I guess we just have to. I mean, the only distinction is Vegas isn't doing it, correct?
Right. These are offshore betting apps.
I don't know if there's a hell of a lot you can do about it. And here's what I want to know. I'd like to get real stats on how many people actually engage in this form of betting. Because is it as big as this guy wants us to believe? Obviously, it's big enough for them to do it. But how much betting is actually going on?
What's the handle? What's the take?
Exactly. What's the handle?
Pretty wild.
I'll be honest. You know where I thought this story was going? I thought you had a story in which there are allegations that a Little League player had thrown on purpose a wild pitch.
That's not that far off.
In order to basically to throw the game or to even just do one of those, what do we say, side bets that are just meaningless prop bets. That's where I thought you were going, but that might be the story a year from now.
That's exactly right. Yeah. It starts with this.
Correct.
And it will finish with that.
Man.
Because as we know, it's easy to reach kids now.
It's never easier.
We talked about it earlier in the week with Dan Wetzel. It's easier to reach kids. So who's to say some kid from Holland, Michigan, playing for the Great Lakes region, isn't going to be on the take one of these days?
Remarkable.
So there you go. Remarkable. So enjoy the Little League World Series this weekend, knowing that maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars is being bet.
If you had to bet, who would you put money on?
The kid that I'd look first. I'd want to get heights and weights, and I'd look at the kid that's 6'3", 210 at 12 years old.
Yeah, that's always.
I'd say, who's on the bump?
That's probably a good bet.
Does Danny Almonte have any kids that are in there? And I'd say I'm going with him.
Probably makes sense.
The story that keeps on giving, and it doesn't sound like it's going anywhere anytime soon, because Michigan, I think, is going to appeal The series of fines and penalties that came down today from the NCAA Division I Committee on Infractions to catch people up. This is the Connor Stallions Spygate case, where no one's really still at the school that's involved, other than the current head coach, Sharon Moore, who will be suspended.
One more game, right?
One more game. Yeah. He had a 2-game suspension self-imposed this year. He will also be suspended for the first game next season. They also did the NCAA fine the University of Michigan up to $30 million, but there is no postseason ban or vacating of victories, including the J.J. McCarthy-led national championship season. They also, here's my favorite part of the story, they also levied an 8-year show cause penalty for former Michigan staffer Connor Stallions and a 10-year show cause for former head coach Jim Harbaugh, who, as we know, is already at the coop. Yeah. In the National Football League.
He got out of Dodge.
We play them week 8 in Los Angeles. So, show cause, it's kind of confusing, but it's really hard for someone that has a show cause penalty to actually coach again at the college level, because you have to go through a bunch of stuff, and it's really not worth it for the school to hire you, usually. People have come back from show causes. Bruce Pearl did. He's coaching at Auburn now.
Yeah, that's true.
But here's my favorite line of the whole damn story. Harbaugh's new show cause penalty will not begin until after he serves the current 4-year show cause that runs through 2028 from a previous NCAA case.
So he's 12 years out?
Apparently.
8 and 4 and 8? Did you say?
Yeah, 4 and 8.
Wow.
Now, I think the last show cause was announced last year, so he might be a year in.
It might be a year in already.
But he's got to wait out. It's not like a death sentence that runs concurrently. You got to wait out the first show cause, and then the second show cause will take it into effect. So he needs to stay
in the pros. The moral of the story is he's going to need to stay in the pros. Although Bruce Pearl, like you said, how did Bruce Pearl get out of it?
I think he waited.
Did he wait long enough?
Yeah,
okay.
I think he waited the long enough time.
Wow.
So there you go. The gift that keeps on giving. But nobody cares. Michigan doesn't care.
Here's your hypothetical.
Yeah.
PJ Fleck has a really good year.
Mm-hmm.
And he flew. Somebody finally makes him an offer he can't refuse. He leaves. Harbaugh somehow, some way is available. The Chargers go like 5 and 12. It's a disaster. Nothing works out there. He's ready to return to college. No one will touch him except the University of Minnesota.
That's a hell of a hypothetical.
Would you take him?
No.
Yeah, you would.
No.
You'd love it.
I would have taken him for the Vikings, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely would have taken him for the Vikings.
No, you're wrong.
You really think you'd hold up on that?
I do, because I do go, and I might be the last romantic about college sports out there. Me and Glenn Mason.
I don't think your average Gopher fan would care.
Probably not.
They would mutter a few, this is not. But you know what? What the hell? Why not? We're always the ones who get caught on the other end of this thing. Guy can coach. Let's take him.
Well, here is kind of a philosophical question that is making the rounds in college football circles today. If these are the penalties for just straight up brazenly cheating, because like some guys from USC, the guys that came to USC after the Pete Carroll era, like Lane Kiffin and like Matt Barkley and all these guys, they're all bitter because, as you remember, USC got hammered with sanctions from the Pete Carroll era. Loss of scholarships, loss of revenue. Like they're still not back from that, right?
You're right.
They got completely pounded for the Reggie Bush stuff and everything that came from that. Now the big question is, if these are the NCAA penalties, what disincentivizes you from cheating?
Hiring the next Connor Stallions?
Exactly. Yeah. That's the ethical question.
$20 million, a lot of money.
It is, but you find a couple of people to pay that for you somehow, some way, and you're good.
So when they decide not to vacate, for example, do they explain what their reasoning is? Or do they just go with, here's what we're doing, we're not going to explain why we didn't, we're going to explain what we did do, we're not going to explain why we didn't do A, B, or C?
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Okay.
It could be in there. I don't know. And the theory, here's the other thing that I don't like necessarily, because something that has become more prevalent is, why are we going to punish these Michigan players that had nothing to do with it?
That's the cliche, yeah.
But in my mind, I'm thinking you used to have that because it was impossible for them to leave without having to sit out a year. Like they were stuck.
They can all leave tomorrow.
They can all leave tomorrow. that seems to me an easy fix.
That's true.
Like, you say, well, no, you can leave, go wherever you want, but this is what we're doing to the school. So that's, I don't know. But I found that interesting.
I had forgotten. For some reason, I thought that this had already been decreed and we already had the punishment. So I was stunned when I saw, well, today's the day. This is all going to be released.
This is from the NCAA. Michigan had already done their
Michigan did their self-imposed, hoping that they were doing enough that the NCAA would say we don't need to do any more, which they did, but ultimately not nearly enough to send what might be called a more crippling message of deterrence.
Amazing. And they got the national championship.
Remarkable.
And our guy, J.J. McCarthy, was front and center in all of that.
Not his fault.
It's not. I know.
I'm just saying. You're going to turn on him now, too?
Oh, I'm just saying, I hope he didn't need all the help.
Brosmer would never need that help.
No, Brosmer does his homework. Brosmer watches film on his own.
There's no question.
He doesn't watch Connor Stallion's film.
You want to straddle?
We could. I just had two quick nuggets.
Go ahead.
Quarterback Isaiah Rodgers for the Minnesota Vikings. He earned a Super Bowl ring with the Eagles last year, Dan. This is a real quick one. Rodgers said some teammates have wanted to see the ring. Has he let them see the ring, Dan?
I saw this, yes.
He has not.
Oh, dramatic.
He said a couple people wanted to know.
Dramatic.
But I told him no.
You know what I want you to see?
What's he waiting for?
Your own Super Bowl ring.
Wait until we get our own.
Yeah, that's it.
I love it.
I wonder what year he's got in mind, 2029 or 2030.
And then it's Twins-Tigers tonight. We'll see if the rain holds off. Twins lost in extras last night. Rocco got tossed. Pearson Ole, he pitches tonight for us. He's 0-2, 7.15 ERA against Charlie Morton.
Sell the team. Sell the team. Sell the team.
Sorry, Katie Storm. Sorry, Tim Laudner.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will. You're listening to The Fan.
Shirt collection is right around the corner, but we couldn't keep this one hidden any longer. You can grab your From Dong Show to Gong Show shirt today in the KFAN Pro Shop. Very easy to find it. KFAN.com, keyword gong to secure yours today. We'll also be selling it at the fair next week.
Bevy of driving-related texts coming in after a discussion on that front earlier. This includes 651 guy who writes, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Dan. People need remedial driver's ed horribly, at least half of the drivers. That's the other thing. I actually, sigh with relief that it seems like once you get a driver's license, you don't have to ever go back and do another test. Other than eye test, I think.
Right. Nothing on the road.
The truth is, I don't think it's really the proper way to do it. This is simple, writes Greg in Lakeville. It's self-importance and feeling entitled. No one cares about others. They simply do what they want at others' expense or convenience. Sad, but that tends to be our culture these days. There's a bunch more here. Let's see. This is Terry. Danny B., you are correct. I own a windshield replacement business in Austin, Minnesota. The safety features and self-driving features associated with the windshield-mounted cameras are encouraging some people to be less aware of their surroundings and attentive driving skills. Grant and Maple Grove, I'm convinced people have decided stopping for pedestrians at crosswalks, because they think it's a suggestion and not a law. Just this morning, I was walking with one foot in the clearly marked crosswalk and made eye contact with a line of 8 cars that blew right on by. I drive every day, all day. Uber Eats and DoorDash people simply do not pay attention anymore. They're clueless to what's going on around them. I do think some of it is ego, lack of awareness, lack of acknowledgement that there are other people out there that you're sharing this space with. But I also do think some of it is you've got too many toys. We've all got them. And as much as people have been told this is what you're not supposed to do, they keep doing it. They nod their head, but that they do it. And I think sometimes, Gaardsy, they're not even aware of how unaware they are. Mm-hmm. And they go, well, what'd I miss? And it's almost like you can't stop your car to tell them what they almost did or what they almost caused. Yep. Because by then they're on to the next thing. So there's definitely a lack of awareness, and there is some self-entitlement involved in this thing too. Well, this is an AI callback. We were talking about AI earlier. Is it going to be the death of us or the life of us? One, AI is right around the corner. 20 million jobs could be replaced by AI humanoid robots by 2027, possibly many more. News to look for next. Tesla Optimus move funding to a production facility synchronizing with their mass production goals and global manufacturing opportunities. The announcement is predicted to come even before 2025 finishes up. So does that mean by that stuff can be built, more items, product could be built more quickly under those conditions? I'm not exactly sure what the issue there might be. A bad driver trend that I've noticed is excessive speedsters flashing their high beams at you to get to move over a lane. It drives me crazy, but it does make that's gone on forever.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I don't think that's particularly news. Larry Mondello guy wants to weigh in on the Little League gambling scandal. Well, it's not really a scandal, I guess, because, it's not really legal, but I guess we don't know. It might be a scandal in waiting. The other crazy thing about the Little League gambling is compared to pro and college players, think how little would be required to get a player to fix a game. Hey, Tanner, you serve up 2 Gopher balls today, and there's a Nintendo Switch and a pack of Pokemon cards in it for you.
He's not wrong. Might not even need that.
He's not wrong. He is not wrong. I'm pretty progressive when it comes to understanding bad and undesirable behavior, but if you bet on Little League Baseball, you're just a degenerate.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's some truth to that. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with that sentiment. What else did I save? Oh, this came in while Ben was on, but I didn't ask him. Craig from Boston, is the male cheerleader a big issue? We talked about this yesterday or the day before. I can't decide. I don't think it is. I think it's an online issue, but it's very difficult to say. I don't think most Vikings fans are concerned about it or necessarily offended by it. There's some loud people who are, and they're also, in some cases, they may not even be that bothered by it, but they know what's going to get everybody else going, so they pretend to be bothered by it. Don't you think it's a combination of both of those things?
Definitely.
Yeah.
To stoke the outrage and the flames.
There's no question about that.
Because it's so easy to spin it up online.
Yeah. It doesn't
Click for engagement. There's your money.
Well, somebody said, we were talking about the jeans thing. So, is it Sweeney? What's her first name?
Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney. And one of the stories I saw since we explored it said that they kind of attempted to trace how it got big online in at least an online sense, and that it started with quoting someone who had like 109 followers, and then that's what I've talked about for years is the contrast in times where once upon a time if one idiot says stupid stuff at your corner bar when you're hanging out for happy hour, the only people who heard it were the 9 other people at the bar. And maybe if there was enough music loud enough, only 5 of the 9 even heard it. And it went away, right? But now, that could have just been one person in that bar. Now, if that one person, whether he's got 1 follower or she or 109, if it gets grabbed by the right person who's outraged or wants to be outraged, then it gets built up beyond all proportion. So it's not like the bar days. Now everybody sees it. Well, I say everybody. A lot more people see it than would when something stupid gets said at the corner bar back a couple generations ago.
And unlike what you would do at the corner bar, unlike what Kessler didn't do in Milwaukee last week, instead of just muttering to the person that you're with, two stools down,
like, what's wrong with this?
You have to repost it and be mad about it. You can't just ignore it. Nobody can just ignore anything anymore.
And I'm like that. I plead guilty.
Nobody can just move along and say, we don't have to respond to this. They post it. That's fine. We're under no obligation to respond, especially like you say, when it is.
Well, the comeback. The comeback to that is we got to be vigilant.
Yeah, I know, but
on ones like that, there is no vigilance. If your mindset is that you think you're so vigilant that taking a stand on the jeans ad is going to be the difference between whether the United States of America becomes just like Nazi Germany or not, then you convince yourself that that's what I have to do. And sadly, we have a number of people who are in that classification. And it's the old pick your battles. It's the old, well, here is what's concerning. That's really not concerning. But then you're haunted by, if you're in that mindset, you're haunted by, but what if this is the one? If this is the one I don't respond to, then I run the risk of being criticized for not standing tall.
Your silence is deafening.
Exactly. And you end up, sadly, I think, making yourself a lot more important than you really are to the entire operation. Speaking of importance, there is none other. There's no other more important than our next guest. Lavelle gave us some bonus time on Wednesday. He's back for more today. If you have questions for Lavelle, any leftover Twins ownership stuff, and maybe even some football stuff as well, hit the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line at 646-86. Well, you know what I'll ask you? I'll tell you my toss-up question is going to be for Lavelle. Did he ever consider becoming a male cheerleader at any level? Grade school?
Yeah.
Junior high school, because that's what it used to be called. High school, college at the University of Illinois. Did he ever consider being a yell leader? That's what they used to call them instead of cheerleaders. Weren't they yell leaders?
They still call them that at Texas A&M.
Is that true? Is that the tradition?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Well, we'll find out the answer to that very controversial question next.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
We're in a dilemma, Gaardsy. I'm not going to lie to you right now. We've got Lavelle Neal III patiently waiting via the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. And yet we are eagerly awaiting the press briefing in which the President of the United States and your guy, Vladimir Putin, will be sharing the same stage after allegedly their first summit meeting, I think is it 7 years? It's been a long time. So if we start talking to Lavelle and they come up to the podium, what are we supposed to do? What do you think?
I think we keep talking to Lavelle.
You do?
I don't think it's a dilemma. That's just me. Well, let's see how Lavelle...
What if it's tense? I mean, it's Trump. Anything's possible. On the other hand, my guess is your guy Putin said a couple nice things. It flattered him. Said a couple of nice things. And we all know at that point, Trump melts, right?
Buddy.
At that point, my guy. I'm the only guy. Well, you know what? Putin's misunderstood, right? Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Unless Lavelle wants to weigh in on the conversation, Lavelle joins us via the Connecticut Water Systems Hotline. Putin, should we stick with you or the Putin-Trump presser once they appear Dateline on the same stage, Dateline Anchorage, Alaska?
First of all, thanks for having me on. I'm glad to be home safe and sound after the havoc I drove through to get here.
Yeah.
I will say this. I have been following the coverage of the war criminal visiting the United States today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually kind of interested to see what they would say. I don't think anything hardcore is going to come out of this. I think it could be a step that leads to more meetings and more conversations that could lead to an outcome. I'm going to walk out and Trump's going to beat his chest and say that we have a deal. I don't expect it to happen, but it would still be great theater because it sounded like people were heckling Putin while he was walking with Trump to the car.
True.
So I think there's going to be some stuff thrown at Putin that he may not want to hear.
At any level, elementary school, junior high school, or University of Illinois, did you ever consider becoming a cheerleader?
No. I wanted to be in the band.
Oh.
And I wanted to be, because at the time I was listening to jazz at that time, and I wanted to be David Sanborn.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's nice.
So I tried to stick with the band for a while, but I didn't like having to get up at 6:30 in the morning to go to practice. Plus, they're going to start me with the clarinet, so I was at home practicing my,
Yes.
I was getting bored with that, and plus getting up extra early to go to practice just wasn't my jam. So that was the closest I got to being part of the game day experience.
Yeah, and that wouldn't have been bad. I mean, that'd have been kind of fun. That'd been something different, right?
It would have been.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, but, we've got male cheerleaders now.
Yeah.
But I think we always had them.
Well, we stopped having them, and then we had them again, and now we got, I think, is it 2 this time, Gaardsy? Is it 2 new ones or 3? I can't remember the number.
For the Vikings?
For the Vikings.
Yeah, I haven't done a deep dive. Yeah.
They're not the only ones that have male cheerleaders. The Patriots have one, too.
You think there's any chance in 2025 that the Bears would be able to bring back the Honey Bears?
Oh, I've been waiting for it for years. That Virginia McCaskey was not pleased with the look of having cheerleaders on the sideline, so they kind of disappeared.
Well, God rest her soul, but I mean, she's now she's moved on, and they're wearing a patch to commemorate her. So I'm wondering now if there might be a second thought on that.
I haven't heard any rumblings about bringing back the Honey Bears. It would be cool. It'd be great to just bring them back for one game.
The salad days,
maybe a Packers game or something, just for old time's sake.
Speaking of the Bears, by the way, before we get back to some Twin stuff and other things local, this is probably a bigger week for your club than it is for Vikings and their fans because the Bears didn't play their starters in week 1. I think they're going to play their starters in week 2. Of course, the Vikings have pretty much said we're shutting it down after our joint practice sessions and our first preseason games. So you might have something to watch this week.
Yeah, actually, all the stars are going to play. This is a Sunday night game against Buffalo, so that'll be worth watching. Which is interesting because they had joint practices with the Bills today.
That's
so that's
right.
the second time they've had a joint practice, which kind of surprised me because usually if you have a joint practice, then you're going to kind of give the veterans a break. But I guess that's not the case.
Is your game? Is the Bears Saturday or Sunday? I don't even remember. Is it tomorrow?
It's Sunday night.
Sunday night. National TV game?
7:00, so I'm guessing possibly.
Could be on the NFL Network, very possibly. You got any new? You got any new Twins intel since we last spoke?
The only thing I got for you, I don't know if you think it's big or not, is that as of Wednesday morning, there was still a group out there thinking they had a chance to work toward a deal to buy the team. So they were kind of caught off guard by the announcement that they were going to hold on to control of the team and just add limited partners. So that nugget I did find out during the crazy day on Wednesday.
Well, that's what does that tell you? I mean, so how do we finesse that?
It just tells me, well, we won't get clarity on that. It just tells me that Joe was doing all he could to figure out a way to still be part of this thing.
Yeah.
And apparently he found someone to give them enough money and sell shares of their team to appease the rest of the family, or at least turn the no votes who voted against keeping the team into yes votes. So,
well, as you wrote though yesterday, there's still no guarantee that this is going to be nearly enough, given all the financial challenges that they have and the ones that this team pretends it has, to think that this is going to turn things around as dramatically as Joe, via his comments, wants us to believe.
I'm glad you brought that up, Dan, because that was my point, was that under the current economic system in Major League Baseball, the Twins have failed to put a winner on the field. Everybody went through COVID, so they can't just say that was unique to them.
Right.
But the timing was bad because it was coming off the bomber squad. So I think there was a lot of momentum building for 2020 that, they didn't realize. But then in 2023, they had a chance to push and add on. And I remember I wrote a column after the 2023 season saying, build off of this. Don't rest on your laurels. This is your chance. You got the fan base energized again. You got them fired up again. Take advantage of this and, build the brand a little bit. Have people show up to the ballpark. And what they did instead was to let Sonny Graywalk and Trey Jorge Polanco. And once I saw that, I was like, well, what are your goals here if you don't want to try to win? So my thing, and the economic system is not going to get better anytime quickly. We may have a work stoppage in 2027. Yep. And the TV deal's all screwed up. So I was like, this is a great chance for the Pohlats to get out and let someone else deal with the headache, And they chose not to. So that was what I was trying to convey in my column. That's why I said, what are you guys thinking of here? This was your chance. And they passed it up. So, and of course, the fans are thinking, well, you guys sell 10 players. You could make one more sale and sold yourselves. But it ain't happening. So I feel bad for the fans, definitely, because I think they were really eager for a change here.
Hendo in Minneapolis is on your rear end right now. He writes, Lavelle doesn't expect any grand pronouncements from the summit. Did he expect the Pohlad announcement? This is the guy that told us he doesn't expect any significant trades at the deadline. Not exactly a sparkling prediction track record. Hendo, up high, down hard.
First of all, Hendo could bite me. The predictions can go wrong, and I was trying to be provocative and being a pain in the rear at the time, and it didn't work out. So I was wrong. So not the first time, won't be the last time. If you want to look at my wrong predictions, just follow my 3-2 pitch on Sunday and see how many of those have turned out. I don't know if my batting average is 300 or not, but that's the thing about trying to predict things. The good chance you could be wrong. And so in that case, it went the other way. But by the time Paddock was traded, I wrote a column for the next day saying, I want more. Trade this guy, and they went that and even further.
Hendo can bite me. There's not a place to go from there.
I love it. I love agitating people. My friends just hate me because I'm always just an agitator.
Bite me.
And I hope I get comments from ammunition when he gets back to work next week. After I talked about the Commonwealth yesterday.
Oh, you hammered them too?
I just called them his acolytes.
His acolytes. Well, that's not necessarily a rip. So we had a little bit of the sell the team chance yesterday. I think we're going to hear more and more of that, especially when the Twins are losing a game. I think there's going to be more and more as we get further along in this thing. I think there's going to be an element of people, sober or drunk, that I think are going to become a little bit more hostile. Now, I'm not asking them to throw stuff on the court or the field, but I do think you're going to have. In fact, somebody had texted us yesterday that there was a sell the team sign on the plaza, at least for a while yesterday before the game, as they walked by the area. Don't you expect that we're going to, we're going to hear? I think the Twins are. Now, I know it doesn't matter, but Twins are going to hear from the fans on this. I think for a period of time.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some continuous blowback here that they're going to have to endure. And they should expect it too. I hope this is not catching them off guard because of the belief that they were going to move on after years of running this team unless someone take control. That people are looking forward to having a new set of eyes on this program to see if they can push it forward. So I definitely expect that. I'm not necessarily. Fans have a right to voice their opinion, and by making chances, as long as they're not vulgar,
right,
or too personal, go ahead and voice your opinion, man. But the thing is, it's not going to change anything. It looks like they're keeping the team.
Let me ask you a baseball question, as much as there are a lot of people out there who might not be interested in it at this point. Now that we think Joe Pola is going to hang around and the team, he's going to continue at least one Pola to have majority ownership. How do you think the Twins are going to play this for 2026, given they kind of leveled the bullpen? I know they think they got a lot of good people back. They might have. We'll see. All the farm system ratings get boring for people after a while. Sometimes they turn out, sometimes they don't. But with a straight face, even internally, what do you think the intent is for 2026? What's even realistic given the fact that 40% of the roster, virtually 40% of the roster, got dealt at the deadline? So, I mean, how can they even think that 2026 is anything but a transitional year that's going to be pretty hard to sell in terms of saying we're going to be relevant in the upcoming season?
Well, we don't know how much revenue they're getting from these sales. I was wondering if they sold like 30% of the team. If it's a $1.7 billion evaluation, then that's $550 million, possibly. And that would pay down their debt. And they should have flexibility to invest in the team. And I think they have to understand that they're not going to do themselves any favors if they don't try to invest in this team. Season ticket renewals are out now. It's going to be curious to see how many of those come back. Group sales are at stake here. So I think they have to understand that they need to do something splashy during the off season to get people fired up again. Do they have to go out and sign the most expensive free agent? No, that's not what I'm advocating. But at least raise an eyebrow that hey, we got another number 3 hitter in Nelson Cruz like number 3 hitter. Hey, we got another pitcher. Oh, we got brought in a bullpen guy. They've got starting pitching inventory that they have to work through. But when you have Joe Ryan and Pablo Lopez at the top of the rotation, that's a good start. They need some of the young guys to keep making steps forward. Luke Keisha looks very promising. Royce Lewis is really frustrating right now. He's just not looking like the guy he was 2 years ago. They need to put a veteran bat in the middle of that order to give them, they need a fulcrum for that offense. So they need to add that. They need to rebuild the bullpen. I think they need to make a couple splashy moves right here just to get the fans thinking, okay, all right, then you're just not going to sit on their money and count it and be happy. They're actually going to try to put a more competitive team on the field. They have to, and I hope they understand that. And I hope
they don't.
I hope they give what their fan base wants.
They'll talk good on it, but I just don't buy it. This is
actions speak louder than words.
That's
definitely.
It. That's
right.
It.
You have to see it to believe it.
You've inspired our audience. 612 Gal suggests a new chant. How about a bite me, Polad, bump, 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 bump. Bite me, Polad, bump, 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 bump. What do you think? You think that's got possibilities?
Yeah, that's a little aggressive.
Well, you said it on 100,000 watt radio. The hell's the difference?
Well, Well, this is supposed to be provocative. It's radio, right?
That's right.
We're supposed to. People are driving home in this thunderstorm. You know, I drove home from downtown Minneapolis, Dan. I counted 68 flashes of thunder, of lightning, by the time I got my driveway.
Well, you should have concentrated on the road and on driving. Yeah, that's part of the reason why you were recklessly all over the roads and the lanes.
And then my sister told me there was hail in the neighborhood when I got home. So, and it's been kind of wacky out there. But, yeah, I'm just, I can understand. I think sell the team is a more appropriate one. But if people really want to get raw, I guess they can go that one. As long as they don't start using curse words, any of the four dirty words, to voice their pleasure.
I think technically,
go ahead. There's been worse chance at stadium.
Oh, big
definitely.
time. Yeah, I don't think,
especially in the Bronx.
Well, I don't think "bite me" can get you knocked off the air, or I don't think. Gaardsy, what do you think? I don't think that's an FCC violation. Bite me?
Don't think so. We'll find out.
Well, we'll see.
Because we've certainly gone hard.
We'll see if I get a text message from Chad after this.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it would be preferred at this point, but there, in terms of chance, there are a lot worse ones that would be considered, I think, a lot more aggressive. The Twins are a no-win. Pohlads are a sin. I'm never going back in. Wolves and 5. It's not bad. You're getting ripped by Dan from Rock. By the way, I said, Wednesday when you joined, you basically said, wait for what I write Thursday. First of all, I couldn't find it. Then I did find it. And I've already quoted from it, and the point you made in it, I think, that I quoted was legit. But I wouldn't exactly call that savagery. I still thought you equivocated too much, or almost made it more about, well, you can't blame the Pohlads for wanting to bail, and they're almost idiots for not bailing, given how bad the economic climate is in baseball. And I think that's still not going hard enough at them for the last 2 years of nonsense, and ultimately the decision to, after saying we're going to sell the team, pulling that Sirwanga as well.
All right, I have two ways to respond to that. One, you have a copyright on the word savage. All right, so you're a senior savage. So you own that one. Two, I remember. I think that what I pointed out when I talked to you was that I was going to write how skeptical I was that this could work.
Mm-hmm, yes,
and that's basically what I wrote. That I was skeptical that adding two limited partners is really going to work, unless they sold 48% of the team and they got a huge chunk of money that they're going to turn back into the team.
Yeah.
And they got to prove that, because I'm sure fan base are skeptical that it could possibly happen. I was just pointing out that I just think that this arrangement, I just think this was a good time to bring in new owners and start fresh, man. But, it is what it is. Now everybody has to deal with it. And they're going to have to deal with that aftermath. They're going to have to wear it. They're going to have to wear this until we find out who the limited partners are. And maybe a couple of people who are exciting, And apparently the Twins actually indicated that we should know them in the next couple of weeks or so. We've been digging at the Star Tribune to try to uncover them. I know the news side has been snooping around, and I've been making some calls. And, there's a couple of usual suspects that I thought could be options, but apparently they're not. So I'm curious to see who the local person is and who the East Coast people are. Apparently it's not the Will family. Well, that's been asked about. Apparently it's not the Will family. We don't think it's A-Rod or Lori, although they're Michael Bloomberg. That would count as East Coast, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I think so. Glenn Taylor has come out with a statement saying that neither he or any of his people are involved. So that's the next mystery here as to how this is going to proceed.
Is there going to be a single player associated with the local group? I
still think there's a chance of that. And I still think they may have a couple smaller people get involved, before it is. And I'm not saying someone who's going to, because like 5% of $1.7 billion is a lot of money. But you may have someone come in for like a percentage, or like a 1%, or maybe chop it up just to have a former player part of the group. And that would probably excite the fan base a little bit. So, I don't know if Joe Mauer is going to be a part, or Morneau. Tony Torrey Hunter, no. I checked with Torrey. So Torrey got to look elsewhere for maybe some local.
What did he say? What did Hunter say?
This is another one of my crazy predictions. I predict that there will be some sort of former player involved.
Did Hunter give any good dirt on his reaction to the latest saga, latest developments?
No, I think he's been out of it for a while.
Oh,
so
right.
I think there was something initially that maybe he was kind of monitoring, but I think not. It's too bad. Torrey's got like 250 employees now in Texas. He's doing pretty good in the business. We've got a really successful restaurant chain, and he's got some other business endeavors. So he's doing all right.
All right, on that note, what's the Sunday column?
Because we're shorthanded, we've had a round of buyouts at the paper, if you haven't noticed. So, and we're so shorthanded now that I think we're going to have the columnists at the paper are going to have to columnize off Lynx game. So I'm actually going to be at the Lynx game tomorrow at 1 o'clock against the New York Liberty.
Another Liberty game, huh?
I went to practice today and just to kind of check out the vibe and talk to Cheryl Reeve and Nafisha Collier. She's been out of the boot. We don't know if she's totally out of the boot or she's just out of it.
It's not Nafisha.
Rehab.
It's Nafisa.
Huh?
It's Nafisa.
Nafisha. What'd I say?
Nafisha. It's not Nafisha.
Again.
It's Nafisa.
No, I'm sorry. That's just a mispronunciation. I apologize.
I'm just saying there's bitterness about that.
Fee's out.
I don't
Fee's
want to
out
see
of the
you get in
boot.
trouble tomorrow. If you ask, they'll hammer you.
You know what?
Don't say
talking
bite
to
me.
Lavelle.
Don't
How
say
many
bite
times
me
has my
again.
name been mauled through the years?
Well, yeah, that's
Joe
true.
Mauer's dad, God rest his soul, used to still call me Lavelle from the start to the finish because he thought the Lavelle and the E were like pushed together. So
Will you
it was
do me a
always
favor
Lavelle.
tomorrow during the post-game presser with Cheryl Reeve? Would you ask one
What?
question for me? At the post-game presser, will you ask one question to Cheryl Reeve for me?
What is it?
Has she and Christine Brennan buried the hatchet yet?
Are you nuts?
Would you ask that for me?
You know what? She'll probably give an answer.
Yeah, she might. I guarantee you this. It could be the most interesting part of the presser.
I better do that pregame.
Yeah, maybe that's the better way to go.
But Fee apparently is out of she's out of the boot at least to do some rehab. They don't know if she's still wearing it when she goes home or when she's out and about. But there's progress being there, and they still expect her to return in the next, shortly. Not clearly, definitely before the end of the regular season. Hopefully, like in the next week or so.
Her status for tomorrow's game was upgraded to doubtful. She had been previously listed as out or NWT, not with team.
Well, that's a good sign of progress.
So that's at least an upgrade that it's doubtful for tomorrow, which isn't really surprising. We're right about the 2-week mark.
This isn't difficult. The column tomorrow for you or for Sunday off of tomorrow night's game has to be a Carrington. There's your story. I mean, she's the story right now. They don't get Meesman, who they wanted. They say we're not going to mope. We're not going to feel sorry for ourselves. We're going to get another good player. Now she's not a front court player, but she is a hell of a defender. Obviously, there's your column. You just got to build it around Carrington.
Yeah, that's definitely an option. I just think what they've done without Fee has also been impressive.
Yes, it has.
The best player in the WNBA is out. Hold on for a second. And it's like they haven't missed a beat. And now Alana Smith's being mentioned as Defensive Player of the Year. Now, it's just been very, very impressive how they rallied around each other.
Have fun tomorrow night. Have a great weekend. Thanks. We'll
get
talk
some water
next week and try to get some water.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Lavelle Neal III about to cough heavily again. As Larry Mandela guy puts it, we have a new Lavelle bingo square. Lavelle counting lightning strikes while driving in rush hour traffic.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control. without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
Comedy legend Bill Engvall is back at Treasure Island Resort and Casino Friday, September 5th. The blue-collar comedy tour icon may have retired, but he just couldn't stay away from the stage. Here's your sign to catch him live for another round of side-splitting humor. All the details are at TICasino.com.
Minnesotans can't drive. Twins can't thrive. Polads cause a nosedive. Wolves and 5. That's a pretty good job of synthesizing the topics on today's show, quite frankly.
Big time.
And turning that into the Wolves and 5 bit as well, which has had much greater staying power than I thought that it might. Final half hour of the Friday football beast. And as I said, the significance of tomorrow's Vikings game is simply that it puts this team one step closer to reaching the regular season. And that Monday night opener in Chicago, Illinois, against the monsters of the Midway. Now, as Ben Gessling told us earlier, you'll get perhaps some interesting battles for backups. And maybe you learn a little bit more about wide receiver depth if somebody can emerge, even though it's second team versus third team. Although I haven't really heard what New England is going to do. The assumption is they're going to do what we did, which is we played our main people in the practice, in the joint practices. But then again, maybe if you're New England, you say, well, but we were terrible. And so maybe we got to get a little bit more work. I have not heard what New England intends to do, and I didn't ask Gessling. So you can maybe, from a Viking standpoint, get a look at some of the wide receiver options that might be important when Addison sits the first 3 weeks. And perhaps you get a little bit more established regarding the quarterback pecking order. I don't think it's likely at this point that your guy Brosmer starts the season as the backup. I think there's every reason to believe he's going to make the roster.
Yeah.
But I'm sure will get decent action tomorrow. And even though Sam Howell is indeed going to start. By the way, the summit meeting is over, and Putin and Trump are both up on the podium. Putin had a long statement that was fairly conciliatory. What's interesting is Trump's statement had to have been a lot shorter because it's already over. Putin went on for a good 5 minutes. Trump got in, got out. They made it sound, the Trump comment was an extremely productive meeting, that there were still some things that they don't agree on. He also insisted, we'll see if he means this, because this is the key question, that the Ukrainians, Zelensky in particular, also have to agree to whatever is the proposal that ultimately we get to here. But it does sound as if there's going to be, if not another meeting, there's going to be more work needs to be done. So this wasn't an announcement of we have peace in our time, right? So we'll see where it goes. Now, as I predicted, it certainly appears on the basis of what Putin said after. He basically stroked the ego big time. Major ego stroking, which, of course, is 80% of the transactional battle when you're dealing with Donald J. Trump. So whether that makes Trump melt and get too conciliatory with the war criminal, very hard to say. But this is apparently it certainly wasn't combative. It certainly was, the whole thing fell apart. It certainly was, why are we even in the same room together? There was none of that now. Whether this ultimately leads to a successful meeting, I have absolutely no idea. Now they're doing the, well, they already left, I guess. This is just a replay of when they first appeared on the podium under the headline, Pursuing Peace. The question is, at what cost? That's always the question regarding these kinds of conversations, correct? At what cost? What does Ukraine have to give up? Where do they have to concede? What reason is there to believe that Vladimir Putin will stick to whatever an agreement that maybe Ukraine is willing to accept? And how long will they, how long, if at all, can they be trusted? Those are all the questions. The term from Trump was great progress today. We didn't get there. So obviously, as I said, there's no major breakthrough yet, but it certainly sounds like there's going to be more conversations as well. Lavelle can't pronounce Nafisa. Do you really think he can say Dijonay? Is it Dijonay or Dejanay? I can't remember what we decided.
Dijonay.
Dijonay, I think. Dijonay. Yeah. Dijonay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think he's going to ask about Chris Brennan?
No.
Probably not.
I don't
blame him.
It'd be fun.
It'd be hilarious. But he's right. It's probably better pregame than after. Although, if you win the game, maybe it won't matter. If the Lynx dominate again, maybe you can ask her.
Maybe
anything.
That's the time.
That might be the deal, don't you think?
It'll be interesting where that goes.
Extremely interesting, for sure.
I mean, we just saw Trump and Putin meet, so nothing's impossible.
Yeah, that's true. That's where it starts. Boy, they're not wasting time. They're already tearing down the stage. It's like we get in,
on to the next meeting, yeah.
Yeah, so, and this was at, in Anchorage, Alaska, correct? The Joint Base,
yes.
Elmendorf-Richardson base. So, and now we've got the talk, was the next, few hours will be the talking heads reacting to everything that is indeed out there. And who knows, maybe we get our guy, Mike Hurley on. He gave us a nice preview yesterday. Maybe we get him on for reaction depending on where this thing goes from there. And I don't know, I couldn't monitor all of it, whether there was any sort of announcement regarding another meeting or whether now it's we go to our various, we will go to our, neutral corners and then we come back to see what we might be willing to, how we might be willing to fill in the gaps that might indeed exist.
Trump says, thank you very much, Vladimir. Putin says, next time in Moscow. Trump, ooh, that's an interesting one. I'll get a little heat on that one, but I could see it possibly happening.
There you go. That's the next one, huh?
Trump and Putin then leave, shaking hands.
And that was it.
Between the podiums, and there they go.
Let's wrap up the program. Also give you some highlights from our Guestling conversation, Lavelle, and, man, it was a very eclectic program today in which we covered a lot of ground, including driving, a challenge to Rocco Baldelli that might be difficult for him to meet. We would love to see that he might, if he'd be willing to, but my guess is he's too serious about his job to consider doing what we would like to see him do in making baseball history. More on that.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
When we come back.
It's almost that time again. Come join us at the 2025 Minnesota State Fair, live from Carousel Park, presented by Meshbesher and Spence. We will be broadcasting live through Labor Day. You can come buy your favorite fan merch, learn about your shot to be the Meshbesher and Spence Rube of the Day. You win a prize pack for that. You can get the full details now at KFAN.com, keyword calendar. The show wrap presented, as always, by American Pressure, commercial-grade pressure washer since 1975.
It's the Bumper to Bumper show wrap.
Interesting distillation of the big summit meeting between Putin and Trump in the Wall Street Journal from their X account. Russian President Vladimir Putin spoke first at the press conference with President Trump, praising the Alaska summit as, quote, constructive, end quote. Russia's ambassador to the U.S. said no major breakthroughs had been achieved in the talks. Now, that's pretty interesting to me because within the story, I don't see any more of that theme developed. That's the first, I guess, comment I've read since the two leaders spoke briefly via statement to the ink-stained wretches, the media jackals, that would seem to indicate there's an extremely long way to go. And everybody, even though everybody talked affably, there was no major breakthrough at this point. So we'll follow that story to find out if indeed others back that interpretation of what took place when the two met. It was clearly affable in the when they met the press, but that comment would suggest that there still is a long way to go to actually get to any kind of settlement. So we'll see where it goes from here. I want to thank Ben Gessling, who joined us between 4:30 and 5. One last look back at the joint practices with New England with a little look forward as well, and some good commentary analysis from Ben on the appellate court ruling that seems to open the door to the possibility that Beeflo's racial discrimination case would be tried in a public setting, in a trial setting, in which the ultimate arbiter would not be Roger Goodell. Major story there for sure, as we talked about yesterday. Lavelle said a lot of interesting things today, including bite me. When he got attacked by Hendo via the text line, his reply, that was his reply to Hendo.
So at the beginning of the Lavelle segment, you asked if things get going between Trump and Putin, what do we do? Should we cut away and listen to it, or should we stay with Lavelle? We obviously opted to stay with Lavelle because I think it started much later. But who would have been more likely in that 30 minutes of time to say, bite me, Lavelle or President Trump?
It's a great question.
Wouldn't you have bet on
Donald
President Trump, probably, in that setting?
In that setting.
Maybe not with Putin right there.
No, because the problem is Putin was so nice to him, you knew he wasn't going to rip him. But,
a usual Trump briefing.
Bite me.
Bite me would come from him more than Lavelle, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, but that's the beauty of the Lavelle segment. You never know.
You have no idea.
You have to learn to expect the unsuspected as well as without any question. I just realized now we've made it this entire summer without summer hours because this time a week from today, well, actually, will be a short show. It'll be 5 o'clock show, but we will be at the State Fair.
Yes, we will be.
So no summer hours. We made it through the whole summer. People who've mocked me and ridiculed me for ever considering finishing at 6 o'clock at all in the summer, they got nowhere to go with their cackling because we didn't do it. Maybe they motivated us. I don't exactly know. I think I just forgot about it as much as anything.
I mean, there's a little bit of motivation. Yeah. There's a little bit of forgetfulness.
It might be,
I thought about it every Friday at 6 myself.
You did, didn't you?
I thought about it every Friday.
That's right.
Guess we're not doing it.
So I'm back with Blakemore on Sunday with sermons. I'm going to try to take No, I can't take next Sunday off because that's the fair.
Too late now.
God dang it. I should have taken this Sunday
You just did your whole summer hours bit.
I blew it.
Yeah, we're happy for you.
For some reason, I thought I had another Sunday. That's it. Well, what can you do now? I'll bite the bullet. I'll accept it. Tonight, enough said, 7:30 on Fox 9 Plus, 9:30 on Fox 9. Largely sports on the agenda tonight. A lot of stuff on the Twins situation in the first block. We even get to Lori Fisher's favorite subject, which was the Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer. Frasier
Travis
reboot.
Kelsey.
Travis and Jason, the podcast with Taylor Swift.
With Taylor Swift, which has now been seen allegedly by 11 million people.
Nobody even knows that this summit's going on right now in Anchorage because of that. I'd forgotten about it.
That's probably true. Probably a good point. Fan on Demand is going to follow us, I think, tonight, and then it'll be Dan Patrick. By the way, I did run into Russo Radio. He was out the door, I assume, after being on with Tenna.
Yes.
In studio, and I said what I'm sure they talked about. What's the progress on Kirill? And sadly, that question. There were no questions taken today, actually, in the presser of the summit in Alaska. Anyway, but I wanted a little bit more clearance, a little bit more information on Kaprizov, who Russo reminds us again is still not even back from Russia.
Correct.
So you got that factor, and then you know what else you got? You got the. Let's be honest. I mean, you got the. Not just, what was I about to say? On Kirill.
Kaprizov, Kirill.
There's Putin, because you don't know whether he's involved in any of this stuff, because he likes to be involved in everything. And then there's the agent factor, which, by all accounts, Kaprizov's agent is not a guy that is always trusted in terms of what he might try, strategically speaking.
Interesting.
And I think there's some concern there. Doesn't mean the deal can't get done, but so it's the combo platter of what the player has in his mind, what Putin has in his mind, and what his agent has in his mind as well, that I think probably makes stomachs queasy for everybody Minnesota Wild related, even if they know they can give him as much money as he wants.
But you know what?
Or as they can give him.
2 weeks from today, Friday, August 29th, Bill Guerin will join you at the fair.
Oh, is that true?
And we'll see if we have some resolution there.
Hendo bite me, Lynx don't need fee, Polad sell plea, Wolves in 5. So, in any case, Lava was feisty today, writes 763 guy. Can we get a fight set up between him and the Barnyard Brawler, Pat Kessler?
That could be arranged.
The Barnyard Brawler. Well, now Kessler thinks he's boxed me up because he heard me talking about me confronting
That's true.
the guy who tried to run me over in the pedestrian walk on the way to the grocery store.
At the grocery store today, I didn't get in a brawl, but I did see they had a sample lady out, and I really thought about going up and doing the Kessler.
Start to pick one.
Yeah, there was
and then move it around.
Two things. I said, should I do it? Should I see if I even want to do it?
That would have been a great experiment to see if she would have responded the same way the handler did in Kessler's case.
Right, but I chickened out.
Oh, God. Can you just not see that handler grabbing this out of his hand
Absolutely.
and then walking over, very exaggerated fashion, and slamming the salmon down into the garbage can?
It's kind of the same visual I have of you walking over to the mailbox to confront the guy. It's kind of the same thing. A little bit.
So very true. But again,
he could have killed you.
He could have.
If you're not paying attention. I'm on your side.
Kessler, I think, though, was closer to a fight than I was.
Yeah.
Sounds like. In part because the other guy apparently was fairly inebriated, correct? Wasn't that part of the deal?
Oh, at the bar? Yes.
At the bar, yeah.
Yes.
I
thought you meant with the sample lady. I think she was ready to throw.
She might have been. That's very, very true, Davey. All right, we're wrapping up. As we said, back with Blake Moore for sermons on Sunday. And again, State Fair is now right around the corner. KFAN.com. What's the new T-shirt?
Keyword gong.
They're selling like hotcakes. Take a look at them. It just might help you better vent your spleen about the Twins.
The job is done. You can go home now.